Yeah, alright, I hit record over here. Alright, this is the August 24th legislative meeting. In attendance, we have councilpersons Koss, Camera, Martin, Wolf, McNamara, and Bruger, which I guess is the whole council, there we go. And of course, Mayor Southard. Let's go real quick through tonight's legislation. Two of them are new and deserve mentioning. One, I don't see a problem with at all. I don't even foresee a minimal problem with ordinance 14/2023, an ordinance to establish the K-9 fund. As I understand it, that is just establishing a place where money for the K-9 fund can go and is not actually putting any money into it, correct?
Okay, yes, the K-9 fund is, when we do the first responders night, our
Yep.
goal is to, any of the money that is created, that's where it's gonna go, people can actually donate into
Yeah.
that. They are going to make an actual, what the K-9 fund can be used for.
Yeah.
So I have not actually seen that yet, again, it's just the first reading, this is just so you
Yep.
guys can do it, but they will, I don't know if it needs to be brought to you guys or if they plan on or however, but it will be, you know, you have to submit receipts or
Yeah.
this or that in the event you,
Yeah.
like vet bills or anything like that. At the current time, the K-9 officer does pay for.
All of it. I remember when we
Yes.
first have him, part
Correct.
of, not first having him, I guess first having her, when he first brought her. When we first got Kimber, it was said that many of the things would be donated
Correct.
and
they
paid
have-
for, and they have been. This
Yes.
just sets up an official fund, so if we do
Correct.
fundraisers for
Correct,
Officer Kimber, it has a place to go and live and can be pulled out of.
correct.
First reading, I don't see any big issue or craziness with that. Ordinance 16/2023, supplemental appropriations.
Okay.
This
So-
is 28,000 going into the first responder retention. I assume that's a grant we're getting that we're putting into a fund?
Correct, so the first one is the establishing, ordinance 15/2023 is establishing the first responder retention incentive fund, so yes, that's the grant. And then the follow-up to that is ordinance 16, which is the $28,000, which is the $4,000 per officer, 7 officers is 28,000.
Gotcha.
We do not have the money yet, we don't know exactly when we're gonna get it, that's why we wanna go ahead and get the reading started.
Cool.
And I think I skipped over in my scrolling the 15/2023.
Correct.
Which
that's what
creates
is.
that fund, and then we want to put money into that fund. I take it this is probably federal, or is this state grant money?
I think
One of
it's
the
state.
two.
I actually, let them correct me, but I feel like this is, well, I don't know where the money came from, but it is, on the website for the state of Ohio, but it could have been federal money.
That, then the
so, yeah, I
state,
don't
the
know.
federal
Yeah.
gave to the states, and
Federal
the
gave
state
to the
gave
state.
to us, yeah. Okay,
Many departments have gotten it, almost
Yeah.
every department in the state, and I probably shouldn't say that, but the list, you can actually see the list of every, government agency, police department that has gotten it.
gotcha. Alright, so anyone have any issue, we can buzz through that, okay. Here's the one that might have a little eyebrow, raising.
Yes,
This is 17/2023, an ordinance amending the Weaver Commercial Construction, Inc. contract for remodeling and construction of the Minerva Park Municipal Building and declaring an emergency.
Yeah, I'll need an elaboration on that.
So that
so,
came from the email.
Yeah,
from
if you
Jeff.
read Jeff's email, it's because when they put in the price, they didn't put in the 10% overage contingency. It looks like
Yeah, when did that-
they're asking for
I didn't.
$115,612.39,
I didn't have a chance to.
which is less than the 10%. That's about,
oh yeah,
I'm happy to read it.
well, it's 3.5% or so, roughly. Raising the cost from 32058 to 345. And here's where we'll get eyebrows wagging. Request to waive readings and pass it tonight.
I actually have something to add to that.
Wonderful, then, just joining us now is Village Planner Eric Fisher.
Sorry for my delay.
That is quite all right. We got it started right on time and it's only 5 minutes since we did that.
Sweet.
And then I'll chime in a little bit and we can let Eric then chime in. There was multiple versions of this ordinance that was quoted in our, common drive. And at some point in those 4 or 5 meetings, it was discussed. It was actually discussed many different times about the change orders and things like that. In the second ordinance, and I'm sure most people actually probably do remember that. In the second ordinance that we did have, it was in there. And the one that was passed, it says 10%, but the 10% was referring to something else. So that's kind of where the glitchy part comes into it. And some of the things that this, as you're fully aware, and it says that it's the largest thing was the generator, which was over $70,000, which you guys did do a motion to approve in January. Some of the other changes, most of the other changes are electrical, catch
Parking
basin,
lot.
parking lot. So that is basically where it is, and the reason for the emergency and things like that, the parking lot is in the hopes of getting it done next week.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's an emergency because we need to do this to be able to pay the expenses we've already improved.
Right.
I mean, that's all that's really.
And we need to
at
pay
stake.
them so the work gets finished and we can open the building on time.
There you go.
Right.
There is one more, these were all of the ones that we had talked about, and now I'm gonna throw Eric under the bus and say that he has one more that he actually wants to talk about, but it's gonna be left up to you guys on this one, because we have not, this is one that is, new, and you guys are gonna have to make a decision.
So at my standard Tuesday meeting with the construction crew, there's a couple things that, we had talked about something at the last meeting, which were getting quotes on, and you'll see 2 of them here. One was underneath your new deck, there's an area that was initially called for grass, and as you recall, that area also had a lot of water over the years. Turns out that they had to say, hey, look, we need to do more than what we had proposed, because there's a lot of water down here, everything. We said, okay. So 2 things happened there. They had to increase the canal, they had to cut down there, and then they have to retaining wall it because of the way, you can go look at it, you can kind of see how it works. It requires a bit more construction than what initially planned, and grass is not going to grow under there. So what's proposed now is just the add river rock at the bottom underneath there. Now, I will tell you that the retaining wall, original pricing of that number that says $2,740 was originally $17,000 and some change. We were successfully able to get it down because the color that the village picked for its actual retaining wall, we were left with, they had to order a specific quantity, minimal quantity. We ended up having a ton of, like 3 pallets of the actual retaining wall material for a different location there. We were able to then reapply that. We were talking about the other day, and we're like, what are we gonna use this for? The retaining wall back there, that's a great idea. That ended up shaving about 12 grand off of that price. So that actually was a nice find. We were able to shave 12 grand off, everyone's happy. So those 2 bottom ones are related to what needs to be done in the back for both, basically the drainage in the rear. The $28,000 one is one where, if you recall, our new parking lot off the street area that goes kind of from the center point of the building to the west, that there's a sidewalk and there's new off-road direct in-space parking. They had originally called for grading it out, but once they cut it and put everything in, what they discovered is we actually need 75 feet more of retaining wall because, if we actually grade it back to plan, we're gonna end up taking out these trees because this did not work correctly when we went and cut it all out. So the option is you extend the retaining wall 75 feet at that location, or you grade it back and you are going to lose 3 of those very giant trees that are right there on site. So I leave it to, that's a decision I said I would take to council, but in general, if I can wrap up on this one real quick, it would have been nice to have this, by the way, I can 99% say at this point we are fairly done, I think done with change orders. I don't want to say for sure because something little bitty crops up, but we have really hit all of the points of things. All the electrical stuff, all the interior stuff is done. We are on outdoor stuff now as they wrap up the exterior of the building, which is why you're seeing parking lot and you're seeing retaining wall stuff. I don't have anything else to present that looks like it's on fire at this
My
point.
only question on this retaining wall stuff, so it sounds like we're doing less grading, but we need this retaining
Right.
wall, so does this reflect the reduction of work required to do the grading? Like, there should be some sort of credit back for that.
Correct, I will confirm that that is the case, and obviously, from an administrative standpoint, if there's a, $5,000 in savings or whatever that number is, we'll make sure that's
Yeah.
applied properly.
That's my only,
This was also, to be fair, this was thrown together, they got these numbers I just got this wrapped up yesterday evening,
yeah,
so.
no, I get that, I just, again, we're not doing A because we need B.
Right, correct,
We should not also pay for A.
you're absolutely
Yes.
correct. There was,
And speaking of that, I take it since this is so new, this 38,700 is not included in the
No.
whatever it was, 150, I think.
you would need to make obviously an amendment to add this to it. We talked about this today, noonish meeting. Basically, if we change it to include this, but you didn't go along with the 28, we'd have to re-amend anyways and take it back out. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, so,
And tonight then?
correct,
So when we do, if everybody is copacetic,
right.
whenever that, 17/20/23 can be amended such that it is increased by that
Could we
total
just-
38.
Could we just include, to include change order, in addition to
13.
include change order 13?
You can do that.
Without rattling off numbers in the middle of the meeting?
Right.
And
do that.
say the numbers, but again, I don't
I mean,
wanna.
You can refer to approve in different
As the
formats,
attached-
yeah,
as the-
change order number 13 as presented.
as
So,
presented.
just so I understand this total here, the 3,431,583, is less than what we're
10%.
amending.
Right,
So why are we adding it back in? Because we wanna add 10% on top of
Well,
this?
hold
or-
on, I don't see that. I
Okay, so what
apologize. Go ahead.
we're looking to amend tonight says that the new, it's gonna go from 3,205,800 to 3,450,000.
Right,
450,000,
So you're
which
gonna-
is still under this.
that's right, and you're gonna add, well, that's because I don't,
Yeah, so.
What he's saying is, we're already adding $245,000. Why do we need to do something special for this 38,000
When it's still
when it's
under
only
the-
154,359?
If you look at section 1, the grand total there
Oh.
is greater than the grand total on this change order.
you do not need to do that then, you can just tell me
Okay,
if
he
you wanna
just-
approve
He
this.
just rounded up.
Correct, he
Okay.
added it in there.
So-
He added it in there.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Right, I agree, that's nice and.
okay,
So
perfect.
that's I didn't catch that earlier today.
Well, that's good. So then and then if you guys can just tell us, people can just guide us how they want to do that
So you guys
$28,000 thing.
don't-
But
yeah.
it's within the amount that we've
It
approved to
is.
spend, so.
It is, but honestly, this is one of those that's not, these other ones, I would say parking lot, the drainage stuff is all necessary items. This is
You have a choice.
a choice because they can do it one way and get rid of the trees, or another way, put the wall up, right, to save the trees. So again, I leave that to the council.
What kind of trees are they?
They're big.
They're big ones.
Big is not a variety of
57 I
trees.
think they're oaks.
Maple.
Cause if they're those trash
They're not
ass silver
trash trees.
maples,
They're not
we can
trash.
get, I hate them.
No, and they also, I will tell you, we can always
I have,
plant little
just-
trees. but
just going
those
with,
are
I have a
big trees.
hatred of
They're big.
silver maples and I wanna cut them down, I don't know. It
Are
helps-
the tree?
It helps
okay,
pass the time.
I guess,
If you go to Google
are
Earth,
the
you can see
trees
them.
in good condition?
Oh, yeah.
Do we, okay,
They're
so
They're
it's not like we're
No.
saving a tree that's dying anyway.
No, you are not. These trees are nice and healthy and
Okay.
they have been.
They also provide quite a bit of shade over in
Sure.
that area, and I hate to say, to be that person, but, there's a lot of windows, there's a lot of that, it would be nice to keep some of the shade, cause that will, hopefully.
Well,
cut down
and
shade.
rather than just have it putter out far away on a slow grade. Putting the wall there, is that just gonna mean the handicap spaces have to be on the other side?
No.
Or there's still
No,
gonna be
no, no, no,
handicap
no. See,
spaces there?
there's already a 25-foot wall there
Mhm.
now. And it had intended to taper off the wall and then grade it back. And that's
Yeah.
when they brought this to our attention that that's not gonna.
Yeah, I wondered what they were, honestly, when I went over there, it's like a big drop off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely.
Cause we're
not-
cutting into the side of the curvy bank and then instead of grading it out, we're putting a wall. I'm just saying, how will that affect, is there a handicap spot going
There are
on
several,
that
there are
side?
several handicap spots and they're on the
and you
left
can
side.
They're on the left
They're
side, so
already
you're gonna
there.
get out and you're already gonna be to where the
That's
wall
right.
ended and where the sidewalk.
the wall's
That's what I
already-
was
yeah.
checking.
Well, everyone knows where I stand, so I'm glad that I don't have to yell and scream and fight for this.
You're all
You
about
want your
killing
tree?
the trees, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, by the time I'm done, I don't want a single one left in the village.
So we still have 29,000 basically
Correct.
left for
Right.
any other issues that might come
Right,
up.
which I.
Anything
But
more
we're
like
so
that.
close to the end, we're,
Right,
Yeah.
there's nothing inside that's
The tier.
gonna happen.
Yeah, we're not anticipating
No.
anything on, and again, that's,
sure,
the generator was probably our, well, it was by far the biggest.
Right.
Right.
I have, I know this is your meeting, if you don't, Mark, do you have something you wanna talk about, the only,
I do not have any pending,
'cause I know
things
he
that,
does.
that we need to go over unless,
that was the last one.
I just, oh wait, is there one more?
No, that was it, that was
Okay.
it.
that's all the legislation for tonight, unless anyone has any proposals of any new things they wanna bring to the village,
I
or,
wanna talk to you about something,
then go right ahead.
just for, what you guys would like to do or for me not to do. So, we have been discussing logo in the office. The logo is, as you know, the tree. And the, whatever. We wanna add Village of Minerva Park like this, that's all we want to do. So for some people, they would say this is not a significant change. Maybe it is. It's the same color, same tree, same everything, we are just planning on, this is actually going to be the design of, what is that, the thing that goes in the,
The kiosk, the
Yeah,
marquee.
yes. This is already, that's what's gonna be in there. We wanna continue with that in other places, letterhead, signature panels, those types of things. So does anybody have an issue with us just using that? Do you want me to do a 2-week review on the website? So.
I mean, you could throw it up there and say, hey, the new logo, tell us what you think, cause that, I wrote that legislation was intentionally vague, a 2-week review, if it's up there for
Right,
2
so
weeks.
that was my question, but it also
The language
says,
says substantive change.
so
That's true.
is it in your guys' opinion?
I would
don't
not
wanna
say
make
adding
it-
our name to the logo is a substantive change.
No, this is just to show you, like this, no,
But
this
the
is it.
tree's gonna be the same.
The
Yeah.
tree is the same, the colors are gonna be the same, everything's the same, we are just adding Village of Minerva Park. And it's just one of those things that, do we need to wait 2 weeks to start doing it, or are you guys okay that we just change everything?
I would not consider that a,
Okay, that was my only question.
hold on, Stacy?
Council person costs, yes.
The only thing I just want on record is why did we decide we needed this change, just for everybody's edification?
It just looks better, the other one's just a tree, and I'm just gonna say this, I was walking, this is actually more of a, and I'm gonna throw other people under the bus, Leah and Barb and all of them, because this is what's gonna go behind us in the council, cause this is like the, that's who we are. I was walking through, and I wish I would've taken a picture, and a landscaping company has the exact same tree. And it's like, it's not REI or whatever, but it was like a KED, whatever, it was another landscaping company and it is the exact tree. So, and that was last week, it was somebody in the new section, so drive around and see if you see somebody else doing landscaping, but it's, I mean, it's the same tree, I mean, let's just be honest. I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, the stuff that
with
you can
like
get
a
free from
falling
Clip Art,
limb.
everyone gets.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it's a very, this is just,
Yeah.
um,
Westerville's Teacher Association spent 30 minutes at a planning day trying to land on the right Apple logo that we could use, that
Right.
we didn't have to pay for. And then the next week I got to have fun and tell them all, oh, that's great, it looks like the new OEA one too. Cause apparently they did the same thing and said, hey,
Right.
this is what we want, and this is the free version of it online.
Features in their apples.
Yeah.
well, and that's
Not even
kind of-
Apple sellers
this
use
is just-
apples as much
it
as
will,
us.
It will distinguish us from being Village of Minerva Park to just another green tree.
Yeah.
So that's really the only reason, I am not planning on going and changing anything on,
Yeah. 'cause
we're planning on using it for letterhead, we're gonna start using it on, as we order business cards, we're not gonna all run out and order business cards tomorrow. So just to be able to start using that, we just kinda wanted to make sure you guys were okay with it.
Yeah, as long as, I like the tree itself, so as long as the tree is the same, that's all,
Yeah.
that's my only 2 cents.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, take it or leave it.
Okay, anyone else then with anything, excuse me?
Be prepared for me to bring up Halloween being October 31st in tonight's meeting,
Beautiful.
Okay.
cause that's what Marcy says.
In new business.
In new business, old business, so if anybody
I'd
has.
probably
any-
say old business, Halloween's been October 31st for a long
What
time.
day is that?
What's new business?
I believe it's Tuesday, but that's the day that
Oh,
Warpsy had.
we, in the past, have had a voice motion
Correct.
to accept that.
Correct, yes, that's why I'm bringing it up, is you guys have to do a voice, yeah, we have to make sure you guys are okay with it.
Yeah, as long as you see what day of the week.
That way we can
It's a
start,
Tuesday.
residents have just been asking, and so we might as well just do it, why not do it early, for once? We already know it's gonna be the same day as
The,
Morrissey, so.
the earlier we do it, the more likely the weather's gonna be bad.
Good, no, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. I'll take your kids if it's
Hopefully
raining.
not.
They
Promise.
have like these costumes.
I picked one out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's all I had, but I know Eric had a couple things, maybe,
Just a minor thing,
Yeah.
compile all final comments from different folks for the zoning stuff that'll be out tomorrow, and we'll ship it out to you, we'll put it on the website for the text, and then, we'll have a nice discussion on the 7th.
does anybody have anything else? Cause I can keep going.
I don't think we do, unless you have, I
Because
mean,
these
go
will
ahead and
probably
keep rolling.
be, these are probably going to be more legislative type things that I will be bringing to you guys very shortly, or not. We have been working obviously on getting the stop bars painted in a lot of different areas, you guys have already passed that. There has been a couple requests, and I don't know if I wanna toss it back to them or not, it just depends on how crazy this gets. But there has been some requests for like Farview, Minerva Lake Road, for a crosswalk, as well as some of the actual crosswalk signs, which can be extremely expensive. I don't, it really is our responsibility, I don't think it's the school's responsibility at this point to add in those particular items. You guys can argue that, I mean, that's
I mean,
between.
it's just a painting thing though, right?
No, they're
Sign-
actually
sign.
wanting the crosswalk signage as well.
The lights.
Some of those are hitting the tune of, I mean, some of them are $20,000, I've gotten some
Yeah,
that
if you
are
want like a
10.
fancy Westerville one where you walk up
No.
and push it and then the lights
Those are
blink so
20.
cars stop, yeah.
Those are 20, we're not doing that, I was thinking definitely on the lower end.
Wow.
And maybe we do the push one, they're 20, I mean, I have an email that's what they are.
We are working on a number of funding sources in the near future and for 2024, so it's very possible that, we start basic and we can upgrade when we get funding for pathways and
around
stuff. There's
to
a lot of
other
money coming down the pipe.
So, that's just something, I don't know if you guys wanna think about it for the next meeting to talk about, I've been talking with the lieutenant about it. There's obviously 3 schools, and we just wanna make sure that the parents feel safe, that the kids feel safe, and that we're making sure that, we have enough visual for the drivers to realize that this is a school zone. I did read an article that I'm just gonna point out, I wish I had it in front of me right now. But Franklin County or Columbus or whatever is on pace to write the most tickets in a school zone already this year, for the entire year. I mean, of course, we've already had half a season, but, the amount of tickets that's been written this year is the most ever.
Wow.
So it's obviously, it is a problem everywhere, but what can we do to try to make sure that people realize this is a school zone?
Yeah. Well, even tonight, whatever they're doing down there, I mean, I saw people walking, they weren't even on the side with the sidewalk. They were walking down the street to whatever, I would guess they parked over here maybe and tried to walk up there, but.
Well, I mean, we have cars parked on the one side of the road, on Minerva Lake Road, there's a kid riding his bike, I'm trying to go around the cars here, but the kid is on the bike, and obviously I'm trying to be cautious of the kid on the bike, because there's 3 cars behind me, so I'm dead stopping traffic, and the kid can't go anywhere.
Right.
So it's one of those things that it's, we don't have sidewalks, we know we don't have sidewalks, so what can we do, to try to get some of the cars, again, I know cars speed, but there was no way you can't speed through there right now. I mean, there is way too many cars parked on the side of the road and way too many cars coming this way. So anyways, that's my 2 cents on that. We have some things for the school zones that we're interested in. We will have to come to you because, I mean, again, we're talking $10,000 and $20,000.
So I think, in my opinion,
Yes.
that should go to safety committee, who should develop the plan, and then the plan should be brought back to this body to.
Right.
Approve, yeah.
I will
And then we should
forward
get some of that good
you
thermal
the
We're
paint.
gonna be scheduled,
And then.
not tonight, obviously, but we'll get a.
Well, I can forward it to
I
you
think
later.
this is like a PTA invite thing too, to have
Mhm.
their input as well.
Yeah, we can see when's the next PTA.
Each school's gonna be different, I
I
think.
just think that they would have some input about like, cause they
Yeah.
know more about
You're gonna-
school safety.
The elementary versus the middle school is gonna be on 2 different nights, I would assume too. There might be one downstairs and one downstairs, but it's all a bunch come in.
And if you're inviting, one elementary, you've gotta invite both
Right.
elementaries.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
and-
I think this is a decision where the people that are affected most need to have a voice.
I would agree with that in every sense.
Yeah. I think this is something you should talk to.
I'm okay with me just deciding.
Yeah, I mean, often the
I saw
people,
that too.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
fortunate, most of the kids that are walking are neighborhood kids, so I do think,
Yeah.
you know,
Alright,
it doesn't
we got
hurt
5
to
minutes be done
go
on
to
the other
school,
one.
so.
Yeah, anything else pressing, cause as was just pointed out, we do not have much time before our next meeting starts. All right, we stand adjourned, see everyone in